All right, I'm going to do you a favor today and talk a little bit faster so the video doesn't take as long. We're on 5.NF.4b, and you're going to be finding the area of rectangles that have fractions for the length and the width. So you're going to be given a rectangle that maybe has a length of 1/2 inch and a width of 1/3 inch, and you're going to have to find the area of that. Your vocabulary word is dimension, and dimension means the length or the width of the shape. So lots of times when we're talking about a rectangle, somebody will say, what are the dimensions of the rectangle? And the dimensions are the lengths of the shape and the widths of the shape. So it's, in this case, it's 1/2 and 1/3. Okay? So today's rectangles are going to have fractional dimensions. So, notes. I'm going to go quickly through these and then I'm going to demonstrate. You need to write them down. To find the area of a rectangle with a length and a width that are fractions, you're going to first draw a rectangle that has a length and a width of 1 bigger than the rectangle you're finding the area of. Then you're going to divide the rectangle into rows, a number of rows equal to the denominator of the width. So if we were talking about the rectangle I just drew, you're going to have 2 rows because that's the denominator of the width. Then you're going to shade in the number of rows equal to the numerator of the width. So you would shade in one row, one of those 2. Then you're going to divide the rectangle into a number of columns, the other direction, the up and down direction, equal to the denominator of the length. So you're going to go the other direction and shade it in, or divide it into 3 columns. Then you're going to shade in the number of columns equal to the numerator of the length. So you would shade in 1. Let's try that again. You'd shade in 1 of those columns. So the next thing you would do is you would figure out the area. So the area is going to equal a fraction. It's got the total number of sections as the denominator and the number of sections that got shaded twice as the numerator. Okay, so all of that didn't make much sense yet, but it should make sense when you see this example. So we're going to find the area of a rectangle with width of 1/4 and width of 2/3. I don't really mean width twice, I meant length. No big deal. Okay, so we're going to start by taking a rectangle that has sides of 1. We don't really have to draw 1 here, but we're going to then divide the triangle into 4 rows because we're talking about fourths. So rows go sideways. So 4 rows. That's a number of rows equal to the denominator of the width. Okay, we're getting the 4 right there. That's why there's 4 rows. Okay, now I need to shade in 1 of them. Okay, so here's 1 of them. Great, well done. Now we're going to divide the other direction for the length. So the other fraction has thirds, so we're going to divide it into 3 columns. And we're going to shade in 2 of them. Okay, so I'm going to use a different color, and I'm going to shade in 2 columns. And you don't really see the overlap, but I need to highlight the overlap. So the overlap is going to be right here. These squares got shaded in twice. So I'm going to just re-shade in those 2 squares, or those two rectangles. All right, now that tells us the area. So the total number of boxes that I've made are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 boxes. That's the denominator. And the number that got shaded in twice is the numerator, 2 of them. So The area of this rectangle is 2/12. 2 out of 12 got shaded in both times. Now I would simplify, so I'm going to write my equivalent fraction by dividing these each by 2, and I'm going to get an answer of 1/6. Okay, so what that means is 1/4 of 2/3, or 1/4 times 2/3, is equal to 1/6. Okay, the area of this rectangle right here is 2/6. Having trouble with my drawing. Let me try it again. This rectangle right there, that is 1/6. Okay, the area is 1/6. All right. So, extra examples. Dimensions of a rectangular floor are shown. The area of the rectangular yard is between what? Square kilometers. Now, this is an example that you're going to have on your homework assignment. I don't really like it, so I'm going to suggest that when you get a question like this, just figure out the actual area. So, to figure out the actual area, you are going to draw a square. You're going to shade in 2/7, so I need seven sections. So I'm going to put 1 in the middle and then 3 on each side of that to make 7. That's how I make 7. Okay, so there's 7, and I'm going to shade in 2. So I'm going to shade in these top 2. And then I'm going to go the other direction and make 8 columns. Oof, it's getting small. Small boxes. Now I'm going to shade in 3 of them. Okay, I always end up shading in the numerator, so now I just divided it into 8. I'm going to shade in 3 of them. I'm going to go this side here, 2, 3. So now I'm going to be extra careful and make sure that I notice how many are shaded in twice. Looks like 6 are shaded in twice out of how many total? Now the fast way to count up the total number of squares is just to multiply the denominators. Okay, so I'm going to multiply 7 and 8 because one way I divided 7, the other way I divided 8, and 7 times 8 equals 56. So 6 out of 56 is the area of this rectangle. It should be simplified. So 6 out of 56, I could divide those both by 2, and I'm going to get 3 out of half of 56 is 28. Okay, so it's 3/28. So now I'm going to look and see what my choices were here. Is 3/28 is this section right here, is that between 0 and 1/3? Is it between 1/3 and 2/3, or is it bigger than 2/3? It's small, okay? It's less than 1/3 of the whole thing, so I know that the answer is going to be this one. Okay, not my favorite kind of question. So go ahead and just figure out the exact answer and decide which of those choices is the best. Okay, this kind of problem now is what we want to be able to do. So 1/6 and 1/7. All right, so I'm going to draw a box. I'm going to make 6 rows. I'm going to shade in 1 of them because I'm dealing with 1/6. I'm going to make 7 columns. I think that's 7. And I'm going to shade in 1 of those. And you can see that they overlap right there. So they only overlap with 1 box. So the answer is going to be 1 out of, how many total squares are there? 7 times 6, 42. 1 out of 42. So that's the answer. That's the area of this rectangle. 1 42nd square yards. Next question. The length and width of a pizza box are shown in the diagram. Now, rather than drawing a brand new box, you can just use the one that's there if they already have a box. So I'm going to take my 1/2, this one here, I'm going to split it into 2 sections, and I'm going to shade in one of them because it's 1 out of 2, and the other direction has 5 columns. There's 5 columns. I'm going to shade in 3 of them. That's not a shading. Undo. I'm going to shade in 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to look for where the overlap is. The overlap is right there. So you can see that the answer is going to be 3 out of 10. There's 10 total boxes. So the area of that is 3/10. Okay, boom. There's the answer. I always like it when it shows up in the multiple choice. Okay, so did I really do all of the examples? I did. Okay, so that's it. You're on to the quick check. You're going to find the area of a rectangle with length 2/5 and width 1/3. Good luck. See you soon.